afternoon. Dr. Suresh Matambi here to propose a welcome address. On behalf of Entrepreneurship Development Cell and my own behalf, first and foremost, I would like to welcome the most honorable, beloved Principal, Dr. A. Kamalanahan sir. I welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome today's chief guest, Professor Dr. K.S. Giridharan, Lgniting Hightech, Department of Rural and Entrepreneurship Development, NITTR, Chennai. I welcome you, sir. So I just hand over the session to our today's chief guest, Professor Dr. K.S. Giridharan sir. He is heading the Department of Rural and Entrepreneurship Development. So he will be delivering the importance of entrepreneurship, the importance of startup activities and its initiatives, how it is going to be much effective and useful for our own engineering disciplines. So I hope this will be an excellent and wonderful session. It will be very useful for you. And at the end of this session, I hope you will be learning many importance of entrepreneurship and its development especially. So with this a small introduction, I hand over the session to our today's chief guest, Professor Dr. K.S. Giridharan.
So good evening all. So I suppose the session is about to start, but unfortunately we are delayed by 1 hour. So anyhow, I will try to cover whatever I have prepared and the experiences that I have and what are the government initiatives that is being implemented throughout the country right strategy. So now, as the title says, we will be discussing on igniting startup success. So first and foremost, I would like to tell you the present government, that is government of India, and especially Tamil Nadu government is also taking so much of measures for effectively promoting startups. So for a kind information, there is a scheme called Startup India Seed Fund Scheme under the Government of India, and last year the budget allocated for the scheme for the entire country is around 150 crores. So 2024-25 budget, so this budget is almost around 150 crores. And if a startup founder has to get this funding, you can always get the funding through the incubators. So your college or your university should be having some incubators. So you can register your startups in those incubators, and through the incubators you can get the funding. So when I talk about funding, so many of the times we will be having, so how much amount I will be getting for my startup. So for proof of concept, the government is giving you around 20 lakhs, and for scaling up the project, the government is giving you around 50 lakhs. So for a single startup, if you have a concept and if you want to prove that concept before the funding agency, you will be given a fund of around 20 lakhs. Other concept, if you want to scale it up or if you want to come out with an industry kind of thing, you can get the funding of around 50 lakhs. Now let us see what are the things that we need to keep in mind when I want to become a startup founder. So I will just tell you, let's say last year I come from an institute which is a Government of India institute which is directly under the Ministry of Education. It is more or less similar to the NITs and IITs, but we primarily focus on teaching the teachers as well as promoting startups and the rural community. So last year in June 2023, we conducted a boot camp. So in which we had around 250 people from different parts of the southern region. They came and attended this boot camp, and in this boot camp, these people were having some ideas. I will just share one idea that was shared by one of the startup founders. I hope everybody should be using WhatsApp. Is it not? I hope everybody should be using WhatsApp. So if I want to send a birthday greetings to my friend, let us say at 12 a.m. in the midnight, so I cannot send that greeting if I am sleeping. Okay, that is a problem. So we have a problem statement here, and this problem statement was to be addressed, and a school student came up with this novel idea. So I am just sharing this experience. So what we did is, he said that he wanted to come out with a kind of scheduler app for the WhatsApp message. Because he said, if I wait till 12 a.m. or the midnight, if I am not sleeping, my parents are scolding. On the other hand, if I am not sending the greeting by midnight 12 a.m., my friends are scolding me on the next day. So I have a problem here, so I need to address this problem. So this was the problem statement given by the student. So what is that he has done? So he has developed an app in such a way that it will schedule the birthday greetings message to your friend. So you can type the message, and that message will be scheduled, and that message will be delivered to his friend, maybe around in the midnight. Like say you will be fixing up the time, and promptly the message will reach. Second thing is, he also said that I cannot send a standard message or cannot have a standard template for all my friends. So he has developed a kind of, along with his friends, he has developed a kind of app, so that if I upload the conversation, if I upload this WhatsApp conversation through this app, it will try to, like say, what I'm trying to say here is, it will try to customize a message for that particular. Okay, so like say in some cases you will be calling your friends as by their nicknames, or sometimes you will be saying some kind of, like say, taunting messages to your friend. So this WhatsApp message that I am going to generate will be developed by an AI app, and it will be customizing that message for that particular friend, and through that app you will be scheduling that message to that friend. So now you believe it or not, so a simple problem statement which was shared by a classical student of Chennai school only. So it really garnered the attention of the investors, and many of the investors who came there for the startup meeting, they immediately approached him and they started discussing with him, like see what are all the things that he has done and how does we can take these things forward. Okay, so this is what I just wanted to stress upon. So the thing here is, like say, if I am focusing on any kind of startup, one of the first and the foremost thing is, you have to address the problem. Okay, you have to address the problem. So the problem which you are going to address, it can be from your own discipline, or it can be any customer-oriented problem. So through the customer, if you are trying to solve the customer-oriented problem, I will be able to make a huge amount of money. So I will be able to make a huge amount of money. So this is what I personally have witnessed this bootcamp experience, and I just wanted to share upon this experience with you people. So if you look at the entire thing, like say for example, if you look at the scientific community, if you see day by day the world becoming more complex. So I will just tell you one famous interaction between a renowned English author and a journalist. So when the Industrial Revolution was taking place, one of the journalists asked the author that you see the technological development is happening. So what will happen to the job scenario? Whether the people who are doing a particular job will be leaving the job or will technology will replace people. So this was the question asked by a journalist to the English speaking person and another one George Bernard Shaw. So he said that you see the scientific developments always happen, but science will not solve any problem without creating 10 more complicated problems. So this was the statement given by George Bernard Shaw. So you have a problem here when you are trying to address the problem or when you are trying to provide a solution for the problem. That solution in turn will be making or will be encountering further more complicated problems because of the implementation of the solution. Now your AI is a classic example. I hope I understand that many students should be knowing about AI and you should be extensively using Gemini AI or ChatGPT kind of thing. So you should be seeing that for developing assignments, for writing assignments and other things, we will be making use of AI and we will be charting out the assignments and we will submitting the assignments. So AI has literally eased our, let's say, our experience. But on the other hand, you see that experience has got its own other side effect also. Like say for example, as a teacher, when a teacher is evaluating your, let's say your projects or your assignments, they may not know whether you have applied your knowledge, applied your thinking and written this answer, or you have literally copied out from ChatGPT or not. So here comes the complexity. So the entire world you see, it will be filled with complex problems. And if at all it is filled with complex problems, you can be an entrepreneur because when you are able to provide a solution for the complex problem, you will be able to solve it. Right. On the other hand, you see, if I want to become an entrepreneur or if I want to become a startup founder, the first and the foremost thing that many of you should be knowing is, like say, you will be saying that a person has to be very creative, a person has to be very innovative. But the question is, how will you make a person to become creative? Okay, how will you make a person to become creative? That becomes the most important thing. So I will just tell you one small experience of mine with you people. I hope everybody should have heard about Ohm's law. How many of you have heard about Ohm's law? Ohm's law is yes? What is the mathematical expression for Ohm's law? V is equal to I. What does V stand for? I stands for? R stands for? Right. இப்போ ஒரு காலேஜில் வந்து கேட்குறாங்க, the question is, your voltage V and V is getting mapped. Resistance R and R is getting mapped. Why current is represented by I? That is the question. So what is the answer? What will be your answer? Why current is represented by I? Yes? Can somebody give me the answer? Have you ever questioned that why current is represented by I? Yes? Intensity. ChatGPT. Right. Good. Good. Very good. So the answer is, it talks about the intensity of electron flow. It talks about the intensity of electron flow. So therefore, current is represented by I. Many of you should have known about the inductance. Is it not? Inductance of the inductance is going to represent about L. Why L there? Yes? Please give your answers. So why inductance is given by represented by L?
The scientist name.
அவருக்கு எழுதுங்க என்ன சார் கரெக்ட் ஓரளவு கரெக்டாக வந்தீங்க வாட் இஸ் த ரீசன் ஹியர் ஒய் எல்ல வந்து முதல்ல கரெக்ட் ஓகே now you will not take minutes of your time I just have the answer here the answer is you should have heard about Lenz law so Lenz வந்து நிறைய ரிசர்ச் வந்து இண்டக்டன்ஸ்ல பண்ணியிருக்காங்க so they have the scientific community has represented inductance by means of L. So why I am asking this question is, like say, everybody talks about creativity, everybody talks about innovation. But on the other hand, if you do not have a strong fundamental knowledge, with respect to that discipline, with respect to the discipline I am talking about. So similarly, you will be having your own interest, and based on that interest, you will be developing some kind of ideas, and if you are very strong in the fundamental part of that discipline, you can be a creative and innovative person. I will just tell you one small experience or one small startup company, what revolution it made for capturing the market sector. Okay, that. I hope many of you should have heard about Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson company. So this company is holding majority of the Band-Aid share. Band-Aid is the main element of Band-Aid product. So that Band-Aid share, majority of the Band-Aid share in the US market was being controlled by Johnson & Johnson. So if you want to become a startup founder, what is that? So there was a small company by name Curate, C-U-R-A-T. So that company, they wanted to enter into this Band-Aid business. So they did a survey and they found that almost around like 30 to 40% of the American people were using only the Band-Aids of Johnson & Johnson, and the remaining 60% is spread across different people, different manufacturing agencies. So now these people, they wanted to come into the segment and they did a survey and they found that among the target population who are using these Band-Aids, the children were the target population. Because the children were using the Band-Aids, almost around 70 to 80% of the Band-Aids, the parents are buying Band-Aids for their children because they frequently fall or they get some kind of, let's say, injury. So to cover that injury, they will be using this Band-Aid. Now what this company did, they did some kind of innovative mechanism, and finally you won't believe it, that you will come to the so astonished to know that maybe after 1 year after this Band-Aid came into market, the Johnson & Johnson Band-Aid share, it got declined significantly to almost around 17%. That means this new company has taken almost around 10 to 12% of the Band-Aid share within 1 year of their implementation, or within 1 year of their establishment. So what is the new thing that they have done in the Band-Aid? So nobody will be so interested in buying a Band-Aid and say if I am having this waterproof Band-Aid and other things there. Now these people, what they did is, they started printing the cartoon characters in the Band-Aid and they started marketing these Band-Aids. So in that way, you see, children will be so much attracted to look at the Tom and Jerry cartoon of their Band-Aid or some kind of, let's say, in those days, Popeye, that kind of cartoons were printed, and Spider-Man, Superman, that kind of Band-Aids were being sold in the market. Through that one, they were able to garner the attention of, they were able to attract the customers. So, first and the foremost thing with regard to a startup is, you need to identify who is your customer. So when I have identified my customer, accordingly I will be supplying a product, accordingly I will be coming out with a process or some kind of product which is going to satisfy the customer community. This is one thing we have to keep in mind. So after having identified the customer, what is that we have to do? So when the customer has been identified, so what the startup people will be doing or what the companies or the investors will be looking at the startup people. So when you say, I have an idea and this idea is going to benefit the customer, so now that there is the third most important factor for any startup company here is the investors will be always looking for a team. Okay, the investors will be always looking for a good team. So in your team, if you do not have good team members, if your team members are not that productive, then your startup might be a failure. So I will just tell you because a person cannot be an expert in all the areas. Some of you might be creative in coming out with new ideas. Some of you will have a good speaking ability, so therefore you will be coming out with a good marketing kind of thing. And some of you will be trying to develop or will be trying to write a proposal, will be good in writing. So you will be using the writing skill for your content marketing or for marketing in social media. And above all, some of you should be acting as team leaders. I'll just share one of my personal experience here. Let's see what has happened in 2016 and I will tell you what has happened to the startup here. In 2016, I was transferred to Kerala. So for Cochin office, I was transferred and I was looking after the Cochin office there. So all the time you see in Kerala, I was staying in a different part. I was staying in Ernakulam North. Okay, over here. It is almost around 10 kilometers from my office. So daily I used to travel by bus. So morning if I come and stand at the bus station, all Aluva buses will be going through my office. So therefore I will get into the bus because the bus conductors will say Aluva like that they will be saying and then I will be getting into the bus. But while coming back, you see the buses will land, but at that time the conductors will not tell where the buses are going, they will not show. So every time if I want to board a bus, and especially in Kerala you see, all the buses side to if you see the side part of the buses, they will be writing different locations and all the locations will be written only in Malayalam. Okay, not in a single English word will be there. So I am finding it very difficult to board the bus. Therefore, there is a neighboring polytechnic. So by the time I go and stand there, the polytechnic students will also be coming there. So I will be asking the polytechnic students whether this bus will go to Ernakulam town or not. So some students will be helping me so that I will get the bus and then I will go and deboard the bus at Ernakulam town station. One fine day what happened, a person came over there. A marketing person, he is from a publishing company. So he said that I want you to buy some books. I want you to buy some, let's say, some journals under a publishing agency. So he was discussing with me. We almost discussed for about 1 to 2 hours. But by the time I left the office, we both left the office and we came to the bus station where I regularly used to board the bus. So what has happened, I thought that this person is a Malayali and he will get me in boarding the bus. And we both were standing, suddenly one bus came and we both boarded the bus. When we told the ticket conductor that he will give me ticket for this place, then he immediately stopped the bus and told us that you get out of the bus because this bus will not go to that place. So by the time the bus has traveled almost around half a kilometer and then we came back. Now that person was telling me, let's say, sir, you could have told me I am having an app and using that app I will be able to find out where this bus goes. Because I understand that this person's name is from Andhra. So he is from some part of Andhra Pradesh and even he does not know Malayalam. So we both came to the same bus station. At that time I was not having a smartphone but that person was having a smartphone. So he took his camera, opened one app and then it was a learning experience for me. So when he captured the image of the bus on that board, it got translated into the Malayalam word, got translated into English word. So now that you can see Google Translator, so many apps are there. But in 2016 itself, I have seen this. So very recently I just called him and then I asked him, like, say, what about your app? You have developed your app, whether you have sold this app or not to some company, like that I asked him. He said that no sir, I have not sold this app because I do not have the required marketing skill to sell the app. So he himself has developed some kind of app, but marketing is very important if you are a startup founder. So in a team, we should be having a good marketer. In a team, we should be having a good creative person in terms of new ideas, who is having very strong technical knowledge. The team should be having a good team leader, and above all, the team should be having a good finance manager. The team should also be having a good content writer. So you, as a team, if you all work, you can take your startup to greater heights. But the investors will be always looking for a team. So you need to showcase your profile. If your profile is convincing the investors, then the investors will really fund you. So always, as a startup founder, if you say that I am the founder, I am the single person the startup means, definitely you will not get any kind of funding. So please keep that in mind. So your team is very important, your idea is very important, and above all, who is the customer you are going to address, that becomes another one important factor. And the fourth important thing is whether your startup on its own is going to develop certain things, or you will be working with some partner agencies. So the startup founders will be asked to list out the key partners who will be evaluated by the funding agency. So the funding agency will be always looking for a key partner. So when I ask this question, let's say what is B is equal to IR, or why L is used for representing inductance, some of you said the answer, some of you, even though you know the answer, some of you are reluctant to share the answer. So you should not have that side of reluctancy, or if you are so, let's say, very, let's say, if I am saying that, I'm so afraid of meeting strangers, I will not be avoiding, I will always be avoiding strangers, I will normally avoid people who are not known to me. If you have that kind of attitude, then you will not be able to promote or start your own company or own your own startup. So that is another one important thing that you have to keep in mind. So identifying the key partners is another one important thing. So your key partner should be a trustworthy partner. Because if you look at the world is full of complex problems. And if you are providing a solution for the complex problem, and if you are not patenting the solution, or if you are not protecting your solution, what will happen? Somebody will steal your solution. Because somebody will steal your solution. So I hope you have heard about the car wiper story. Many of you should have heard about this person's story. On the story, a person was a partially blind person. He has his name is Robert Pierce. One day he was driving the car. On the car drive there is a slight drizzling. Due to the drizzling, he switched on the wiper went back and forth continuously. So that was affecting the vision of the partially blind person there. So what he did is, he invented a kind of mechanism through which he felt that the speed of the wiper can be controlled. So what we use in our car, the intermittent wipers, it was introduced to the globe by Robert Pierce in the year 1964. So he invented this thing, and he was, let's say, filing a patent. From the patent office, the information got leaked, and the companies like General Motors, Ford, they started manufacturing cars with this kind of intermittent wipers. You see, I have filed a patent, but my idea is being used by somebody, and cars are coming out with intermittent wipers. So he went and had a discussion with these people, like say, you see, I have invented and you are using my idea, is it right or wrong? The corporates you see, they said that you go and mind your own business, you file a case against us, we will face it in the court, you do whatever you want. இப்படிதான் நீங்க பண்ற ஐடியா இருக்கும், whatever ideas you have, if you are not properly protecting that idea, what will happen? Somebody will steal your idea. Always keep that in mind, right? So what he did is, in 1979, he filed a case. In 1967, it was given the patent. For 12 years, he was running between the corporates and different companies that this is my idea, you should not use my idea, like that he was doing. But nobody was listening to him. So what has happened? He filed a case. Whomsoever is advocate, the corporate giants, Chrysler Motors, your Ford company, your General Motors, all these people, they started coaching the advocates. If your advocate pay next day the advocate will not come to me or will not appear for me in the court. Because they might have been approached by that corporate and they would give a huge amount of money and he will disappear from the court from the next day onwards. So this happened for a while and finally he decided that I will argue the case on my own. So he has prepared the case. So you see a technical person becoming a legal person, started reading all the court cases and other things, how he has to present the case, everything was doing. But in the meantime, what has happened? His family felt that this fellow is not giving any kind of importance to the family. So therefore, all the family members of Robert Pierce, they left him. So they all left him. He almost fought for 16 years, 1979 to 1995. He was struggling with this court case and finally the Supreme Court gave a verdict in favor of Robert Pierce. The automobile giants argue that Robert Pierce has not done anything. What he has done, there is already a wiper. He has introduced the gear mechanism of the wiper. So through the gear mechanism only the speed is getting controlled. So he has not done anything new, so therefore the patent given to him is invalid. That is the argument from the side of automobile giants. But the Supreme Court judges said, okay, already gear is there, already wiper is there, so he has not done anything new. But that idea has not come to you people. Only you have connected these two, only he has connected these two ideas. So the given patent to Robert Pierce is valid and therefore you people have to pay a compensation. So this was the statement given by the United States Supreme Court judge. You see, he got the money to the tune of almost around 200 crore rupees. Okay, 200 crore rupees as a compensation from the automobile giants because these people have simply stolen his idea. On hearing that this person has got 400 crore rupees, all the family members returned back to Robert Pierce. Okay, so now what I am trying to say here is, the Robert Pierce case study is a very famous example that however creative you are, if you are not taking steps in protecting your idea, somebody will snatch your idea, somebody will take your idea, and at that time you cannot do anything. So you need to take precautionary steps, you need to take measures for filing the IP, and using intellectual property, you will be able to protect your idea. So my humble advice would be, let's say if you have got an innovative idea, now that idea has to be patented, has to be protected, and then only you have to protest started. Otherwise, somebody will take your idea, will encash on your idea, and before you get the investor funding, somebody will get the funding, and they will take the startup to greater heights. Okay, they will take the startup to greater heights. So before revealing your thing, you have to protect your idea. So protecting your idea is one of the most important things. So this is another one important factor. So I said key partner is one of the most important agencies, but identifying a trustworthy key partner in this controlled competitive world is very, very difficult. So you need to identify a reliable and a most trustworthy key partner. So after having identified the key partner, then what are the things you have to do? You have to take measures for effectively disseminating your product, for effectively marketing your product. So if you are not marketing your product, who else is going to market your product? So that one you have to keep in mind. So your marketing becomes one of the most important things. And finally, if I want to get the funding from the investors, the most important thing that an investor will be always looking upon is there is a concept called business. Okay, there is a concept called business model canvas. So you have to go to the business model canvas, and if you look at the business model canvas, you will get a fair idea, let's say how your business or how your startup has to be promoted. So finally, I will end the lecture by, let's say, by quickly summarizing whatever we have discussed. So we have seen what are the important aspects of startup. So first and the foremost thing is you should be creative and innovative for coming out with an idea. Not only generating ideas required, you have to protect your idea, you have to build a strong team, and using a strong team, you have to identify a reliable partner, you have to identify the key activities, and finally, when you are pitching for funding, you have to identify the reliable investor. So all these things are really not that easy, and if you want to really start a company or if you want to come out with a startup, you have to look into these factors. So finally, I will end the lecture by giving a small quote. If you look at any family, most of the families will be happy. If you look at the families, if you identify the reasons why the families are happy, there could be only one or two reasons. But on the other hand, if you look at the unhappy families, there could be variety of reasons. Okay, there could be variety of reasons. But on the other hand, if you look at a happy organization or a happy startup, there cannot be a single reason, there could be multiple reasons. So you have to think broadly, you have to think in a different dimension, addressing the complex problems. If you are trying to address the complex problems, then definitely your startup will boom in the near future. With this thing, I wish you all the very best. And I thank the authorities of Veltech, the students, for taking this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights on startup and entrepreneurship. I hope this will be very useful. And here is the vote of thanks on behalf of the institution, entrepreneurship development cell, and my own behalf. I thank today's chief guest, Dr. K.S. Giridharan sir, for having we are having such a eminent professor here. On behalf of the EDC sir, once again I thank the professor. Thank you, sir. And I sincerely thank most beloved Dr. Kamalanaman sir, our principal. On behalf of EDC sir, I thank you, sir. And I convey my thanks to our dean, respected Dr. Suresh. I thank you, sir. And I thank all the faculty coordinators, student coordinators of this EDC sir, and other participants, teaching and non-teaching faculty members. I thank you all and all. Let us all stand for